Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Devo, some motivational, back with another day. Well, sorry about that. Back with another Monday's watch list. And today I'm going to go over my Friday's trade as well as going over what I think is going to happen on the Monday um, coming into the new week, as well as the earnings we have coming into the new week, and as well as the data that we have coming tomorrow, okay? And so, real quick, I want to say thank you guys for all y'all support. Thank you guys for all the likes, the comments, the subscribes. Thank you for the 49 subscribers. We was at 50. Please, let's try to get back up to 50 and then ultimately bigger numbers than that, okay? Remember, this is a journey. We're going from unprofitable to profitable, and we will end up becoming profitable, okay? And remember, I love every single one of y'all, and let's get straight into it, okay? So first, I'm gonna start off with my Friday trade. So to start Friday, what did we have? We had started up around here at this 564 area. We knocked up, hit this area of resistance, knocked back down, came up, and let me go to my 5 minute to see if it filled any gaps because I didn't get in at this trade at all. And usually we like to see the change of character, but there was really no change of character and like retest into any area, okay? Because you see it pumped up, hit this resistance, knocked back down, but we don't see no like change of character, right? Until like right here, kind of get this change of character, but we don't get a retracement into our 50% right here, and you see we hit this area of support and ended up knocking back up. But let's pull into our 1 minute to see. Okay, when we broke down, we did pull into this gap just a little bit. Not much though. I probably would have wanted it to hit like the bottom of this wick to get a better entry. So let's see if I was coming in right here after I got that after I got the change of character, I would have had to have it at the top of my order block and fair value gap. If I would have got in at right here, this area right here where I said at the bottom of this wick, my target would have been around this support. So I probably would have put a little shorter. So that would have been a 2.4 to 1 ratio. That is pretty good. That's what we aim for, 2 to 1 and up. That would have been a pretty good entry. But like I said, I didn't get the full pullback as I would have wanted. It just looked like a little retracement. But what was I looking at after this happened? Because I want to pull back into it. I don't want this little retracement because we know the retracements end up getting pulled back to and get swept, and that's when the actual pullback will come. Okay, so for example, let me show you guys. Wrong one. So we know we would usually get a retracement, a little retracement. Like this is a retracement, just this one candle right here. So usually we would have this change of character, retracement, and then you would have a another break of structure, but then you would have an actual real pullback, and then it would just come tap this fair value gap again, tap it deeper, or it'll come tap the order block, and then actually start to make a down move. You see what I'm saying? Let me make that green just so it's like you can see it. You see what I'm saying? So let me delete the risk to reward because we know that would have been a 2.45 to 1. So you see what I'm saying? Because as we know, we would usually have a retracement and then it would kind of break structure, but then it would come and sweep that retracement and tap that fair value gap again deeper, or it'll come tap a order block, a little order block area, and then it would drop, okay? So I didn't get in at that because I didn't get the pullback that I wanted. When it came down and it was coming back up, I was looking for a seller. I was looking for a selling entry, right? Because that was exactly what I was looking for. But when we came and we tapped this order block, right? Because this right here, this area right here is an order block, right? Because the candle or candles before the break of structure moved. We tapped that fair value gap. We got a little reaction, but we didn't get much of a reaction I wanted. I wanted to get like a deeper bounce and then some type of like pullback, but it only gave this one candle. And as we could see, oh my goodness, come on. And as we could see, we didn't have no volume right there. Look at this candle right here. This candle right here is this candle right here. You see it? You see this red little candle right here is this one right here. So there was no volume in that candle. So I didn't get in right there. We kept breaking up. And then this is where it was just a bunch of chop at this resistance line. A bunch of chop, a bunch of chop. We broke through. We broke through it, used it as support right here, and then shot up. We shot up fast. See this volume? See this volume right here? That shot up insanely quick. And this is where I actually got in at. But it was, I guess, kind of too late up to move. But that was pretty much my only like safe entry point from 562, 567, $5 move, which isn't too much. You know, I mean, we've seen price action move $8, $10 in a day, right? That's usually what it's kind of been doing. But $5 is still a pretty big move. But this is where I got in at. Let me come back to my 5 minute, then I'll skip back down to my 1 minute because that's what I did. So I have this fair value gap right here. So I've seen whenever price broke through this resistance, that is exactly what we want to see, right? We want to see it turn into support after it breaks the resistance. So it came down, it was wicking, and wicking the 50% of this fair value gap. I come down to my 1 minute to look at it. When it wicked and it gave this engulfing, I got in at the middle of this engulfing candle, wrote it up, bought 3 contracts. I was writing it up right here. Why? Because it tapped this fair value gap in the 5 minute and the 1 minute. It also filled this area of like liquidity. And like this is still like a buyer gap right here. Even though it like touches like wick area, this is still like a buyer fair value gap. And then also it's wicking this area of resistance, making it a support. So when we start engulfing these candles right here, these 2 engulfing candles right here, this is when I hopped in at the middle of this engulfing candle with my position right here. It would have been at the bottom of this because if it takes it out, it could touch this gap. But at the same time, then you're flipping your area of resistance. I mean, you're not using this as an area of support unless I go into my 5 minute. And this is where I could have been in my 5 minute to see, because it could come back down and like break through, but just be a strong wick. But as we see, it was breaking through. These were wicks, but it did end up just breaking through. Okay, so this support didn't end up holding, as we see, because it's just getting ran through. So the support is not holding right here. If in my 5 minute I would have seen like a strong candle break down, but then just like a wick up. For example, in my 5 minute it would have been a big breakdown like this. It would have been a solid candle, but then before that candle closed, it actually just wicked up, and it would have been a strong wick down here. You see what I'm saying? And the candle would have just like came up. You know what I'm saying? Like closed above the support. That would have been a good reaction to see. But in my 1 minute, I still got this pullback to my fair value gap. Got these engulfing candles. I got in at the middle of this engulfing candle with my entry, like right around here. My stop loss at the bottom of this wick, right? Because this is the wick of my fair value gap. And my target somewhere up to this next resistance zone, okay? Not exactly to it, because remember, we will see price react before we actually get to the exact resistance line. We will see orders actually placed in right before that resistance line, but that's where we would be having our like stop loss, like somewhere around here, right? So that is a 4-to-1. That is a good risk to reward, but we didn't end up getting all that because when we broke up, we started to break back down, and I was like, okay, it's tapping this fair value gap. And whenever we started to break back up a little bit, I think this is around when I called it quits. I think this is around, because when we used this fair value gap again, well, not a fair value gap. When we use this, because this was the fair value gap. When we use this little gap right here, this is whenever like all that liquidity should be filled. So after this, and it started breaking up, and it was still losing power. As we see, there's no volume, and we started to see the seller volume pick up higher than the buyer volume, which we don't want to see, right? Because we're supposed to be in a heavy uptrend from this up volume. It started to roll back over. I think this is when I called it quits around here, and I was up probably about 20 something bucks. Not much, but I mean that's the strategy, right? I mean, more times than not, we've seen it work, right? more times than not we've seen it work. So that was pretty much it for that trade. I didn't get none of this area. I tried to get at this fair value gap to see if it could push up to this next resistance of 570. Excuse me, good people. But we ended up just breaking down and just kind of playing with this support resistance line. You see, and it broke up a little bit more, but then got flushed right back down. So now, as we see, now it's using this 566 as support. So now that 566 is the area of support. Could you see it breaking up, broke down, used it as support, and then they flushed it, but then the support holding up, support holding up, support holding up. They flushed it through. What did support do? Brought it straight back up, and it's still bouncing on it. So that's now an area of support. I can delete this red line. I can delete this because it's creating new areas of support. And as we can see, this is like an area of support right here, about this 565. This 565 area is like an area of support, as you can see. Because it was resistance, knocked through, and we see it's using it as support. So now this 566, I don't like that number. There we go, 566.45. And then this 565 is the area of support, but we still have this. Well, we have another resistance now because we see price can't really get past this area. All right, this area of resistance I can put at about 568. So that's just showing y'all other resistance we have going into Monday. The markets aren't open right now, of course, so we don't really know where the price is going to be at for pre-markets and after-markets, but currently price is sitting at 566.83, so we're sitting a little above this area of support, right? So we can see it, excuse me, good people. So if it wants to open up near that area again tomorrow, we can see a down move, see the support hold up, and then see it break through this resistance potentially, right? Or we'll see it start at this area, hit this area of support, not be able to break, and then hold up, but then the sellers will step in and break it through this area of support, and we can see this 565 hold up or the 565 actually break through. But I'm gonna tell y'all which one I most likely can see coming. I can most likely see an up move still coming, right? I still believe we're in a little bit of a relief, but I don't believe we're done with the down move, okay? Okay, so let me repeat that. I still see us in a little bit of relief. I still see us pumping up. I can delete all these. I know there's a lot of lines on the chart, but these areas of support and resistance that I feel help. I can leave that one. So that's not bad. It is a lot of lines, Jesus. Hey, I need those lines there, okay? Because as you see, look, area of resistance right here. If it wants to break this resistance, it can head up to this 575. I have these two right here, as we know. I just marked these 566 and 565 ones out, and then this 562 I'll just delete, so I don't have too much, because I don't really need that one there. But as you know, I just marked these two out. This resistance 568, I think I just marked this one out as well. But you see we have this 570 because this area resistance, and this 575. If we break that 575, man, we were pumping up. Because look, we are close to the all-time highs again. But why can I still see a down move coming? So for this week, I could potentially see more upcoming, okay? Why? Because we still have a lot of news coming out with the China and the U.S. like talking potentially and potentially working out deals, as well as we still had good earnings for Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft. We still have good earnings, even though Apple and Amazon sold off because of the forward guidance. We still do have good earnings. They still had decent earnings, as well as Microsoft and Meta had good forward guidance, as well as very good earnings, right? So we're still under this like excitement. I still see us like getting pumped, you know what I'm saying, as well as the good data that we had coming out. And then tomorrow we have non this is basically non-manufacturing employment, right? What did I do? I read it before. It says the ISM Services PMI Employment Index dropped to 46.2 in March 2025 from 53.9 in the prior month, which is not very good. That means non-manufacturing employment is dropping down. And it says signaling a renewed decline in employment at the fastest pace in 9 months. ISM non-manufacturing employment in the United States, and then just throw some more stuff out. So that's what I got it from, ISM non-manufacturing and employment. And so we want to see if those numbers are better than expected. Forecast 50.3, previous 50.8. We want to see if that's better than expected or around it. If it's not as good, I mean, you can't really factor in if it comes in a little lower than expected. The market could probably take that as good news because lower unemployment, they'll probably like use that for rate cuts. But at the same time, it could potentially be bad because lower GDP and then higher unemployment, that's like equivalent to a recession, right? So I mean, we have to kind of see how the market wants to take that, if it comes in good or bad. Remember, I mean, we can't predict everything that happens in the markets, but we just mark out our technicals, and we keep in mind with all these things, and so we can react to what the market's going to do, right? Because we can't just forward gamble on what the market's going to do. We have to follow the market, because I do see us getting a down move still, because we do have this gap here around this 520 area. We could still take these lows out and try to fill this right here. You see what I'm saying? So we do have a gap. I mean, they did pull like pretty much 75% of this big old green candle, right? This is a huge one, 548. Remember that? You remember that move? That was a $50 something move. That just got freaking pumped up like crazy. So yeah, I can still see a down move a little bit in the future, but right now we are pumping up because of the excitement, potential trade deals, good data that's coming out. Yeah, pretty much, and the good earnings, right? And then tomorrow we actually have Palantir earnings. Palantir, Hims and Hers. I know Hims and Hers is a little important, but I'm not sure what that company actually is, honestly. But we're not gonna worry about Hims and Hers. But Palantir, we know, is the security. It's like Nvidia. It's like security for the semiconductors, right? So Palantir is like just as important as Nvidia, right? Because like semiconductors, which is Nvidia semiconductor, needs security for their technology, and that's what Palantir is. Okay, so Palantir is just as important as Nvidia. So we see like crushing earnings and good forward guidance. We will see a good pump because that's just really good for the market. So these earnings tomorrow, we could potentially have more of a relief, more of a rally up. If we have good earnings, well, this was actually going to come out at the end of the market. So Tuesday, we could potentially see, probably after hours of that Monday, we would see a big pump like we've usually been seeing. But Palantir comes out good, we'll see more pump going into Tuesday as well. Tomorrow, we will have these employment numbers coming out about 30 minutes after market opens, right? And so that's what we could potentially see more of up move to this 475, or potentially, if it wants, like probably the 490s, right? Because we do have this big strength candle that hasn't really been tapped, okay? This strength candle could probably get tapped, but I don't see the down move over with. That's why it's kind of hard to see it's just pumping up so high, because I do not see the down move over with. I could see us filling these gaps in QQQ. I haven't been on QQQ in a while, but we see QQQ has a lot of gaps, right? We have a gap right here. We have a gap right here. You see what I'm saying? And then if it wants to, it can fill. It can come tap this again. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I don't see the down move over with, right? Because we still have a lot of, we're at this 490 area already, but I do see us filling these gaps, right? But we already know we do see these gaps get filled, right? Um, I can go back in time and show y'all, right? I mean, gaps filled, gaps filled, gaps filled. Even in the huge down moves, right? Gaps filled. I mean, not every single gap gets filled, but usually these gaps get touched, right? Gaps, right? You don't really see a gap that's not really like touched, right? You see, like this one didn't get touched, right? This one didn't get touched. This is what, like a $2 gap. $2 gap didn't get touched. This one didn't get touched, but a $5 one. But we do see price usually comes and touches these gaps, right? Price usually fills these gaps, as we know, right? Fills, 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 fills. You see what I'm saying? Fills, fills. All this is filled. Breakdown. When we're breaking down, we got the pump. Fill this one. And now we need to fill some of these, right? These are a lot of gaps. We have a gap, gap. If it wants to fill that, right? So I do potentially see us getting more down move in the future, but right now, I still see us giving a pump because of the good data, the good earnings, and all this excitement on the Trump trade tariffs, right? So tomorrow, what can I see? Again, come down to 5 minute. I could see tomorrow us trying to give like a little pump. I could see tomorrow giving us a little pump, depending on our employment numbers. I could see us giving a pump. Remember, we're right around the support. So if we want, we can use this support again and try to pump up, break this 568, use that 568 as support and try to pump up to the 570s. Or we could potentially just break up, kind of range from this 568 to 566 area. Or we could see this support not hold up, get broken through, and then try to come down to this 565 if it wants to range from the 566 to 565. Or we could see the 565 get broken through, and then we could potentially see what? Fill this gap down here. That's if employment numbers come bad and the market takes that as bad, right? Because that's not too bad of a drop. If we're at 566 and we come break down to fill this 560 to 562 gap, that's not a bad drop, right? It's about a $5 drop. That's not too bad, right? That would just kind of fill a gap and then give us more room to pump up if Palantir has good earnings, okay? So what do I see? I could see that one. That one's a pretty good scenario. I could see us trying to break down and fill this gap if we have bad employment numbers. And if we have some bad news coming out, we know like some news will come out with Trump and trade tariffs and stuff like that. We could come down and fill this gap, which is about a $5 drop, which isn't bad. And that could set us up for Tuesday or for the aftermarket pump if Palantir has good earnings. So are y'all hear me? I could see us breaking down, filling this gap, and then kind of just getting ready for the aftermarket of Monday because Palantir's earnings come out when market closes on Monday. So I could see us getting that down move and setting us up for the aftermarket pump, right? Because so we can have like kind of more room to run back up. You see what I'm saying? And so that's pretty much going into tomorrow. Remember, I will show up tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow to show y'all my trade recap. Remember, we like to show up daily. I didn't come in Friday. We didn't have much data, but I knew on Sunday I was going to come back and give you a watch list and go over my trade and everything. And I want to show up daily for you guys as much as possible. I want to show up for you guys, and I really enjoy doing this for y'all. I hope y'all are learning with me because every day we're getting better. Every day we're learning, and and every day we are getting better. And I'm excited for next week. Okay, on the Fridays, I love the weekends. Okay, don't get me wrong, I love the weekends. I love to get a little chill out on the weekends. Those are kind of my cheat days, where I just kind of eat whatever I want. And so I love the little relaxation that I get because on Monday through Friday, I'm kind of just like up early. I'm kind of studying. I'm a little bit in grind mode, right? And on Saturday, Sunday, I kind of like chill out. Have cheat days. Still wake up fairly early, but I wake up a little later than I usually do on weekends. You know, I kind of chill with the family, and, you know, have fun, enjoy myself. But at the same time, I'm very excited for the Mondays and for the weeks, because this is where we make our money. This is where we get better at, and this is how we this is our passion, right? Studying these markets, going over these markets, and ultimately making videos for you guys, right? And so, real quick, I want to tell you, I am negative this week, negative 110 bucks, which this is kind of disappointing because last week I had a winning week, and I wanted to transfer to a winning week this week, you know, create momentum. But 110 bucks isn't bad. Last week I made 130. This week I'm minus 110, so I'm still up 20 bucks between those 2 weeks. But ultimately, we would have liked to see. Let me put this so y'all see the OBS. But ultimately, we would have liked to see two winning weeks in a row. But next week we're gonna get back to it. Next week's gonna be a big week, a big winning week. I can already feel it. I already feel it, guys. I already feel like next week's gonna be a good one. Um, I know I always say that, but hey, you gotta speak it and you gotta believe it, and it's gonna come. It's gonna come. Okay. Remember, this is a journey. It's not a sprint. This is a marathon. Okay. Remember, I love every single one of you guys who are sticking with me through the journey. And remember, guys, to be studying so you aren't gambling. Remember, have risk management so you do not want to blow up your accounts. And ultimately, remember, all of your setbacks is part of the journey. You're gonna have setbacks. Nobody starts from zero and reaches 100 just like that. You start from zero, you go to 15, and you fall back to 5. You go up to 20, and you fall back to 18. Then you fall back to 15. Then you're gonna fall back to 5, and then you're gonna pump back up. You see what I'm saying? So it's all a journey. You know what I'm saying? Keep learning, keep getting after it, and keep getting better every single day, okay? And your dreams will come, okay? So I love every single one of you guys. Remember, guys, stay persistent, passionate, and make sure y'all get paid, all right? Peace.